Hi there, this is Ed Herzog, and today I want to show you Jet Reviews. Jet Reviews is a plugin by Crockablock that you use with Elementor, either or Elementor Pro. Jet Reviews allows you to do two things. First of all, you can put your own reviews on your website. So for example, let's say I want to do a review of Jet Reviews and put it on my website. I can set up various criteria that I want to review Jet Reviews against and then rate it myself. Okay, so that's the first way that you can use Jet Reviews, is putting your own ratings of products, services, whatever you want to do on your website. Now the second way that you can use Jet Reviews is by letting other people products or services on your website. So let's say you've got a movie review website and you want to let people come to your website and review various movies against criteria that you've established. That's what you can use this plugin for. You know, it could be your products, your services, or it could be somebody else's products and services that you want to give people, you want to give your website visitors an opportunity to review. So that is my introduction to what Jet Reviews can do. I'm now going to switch over to my desktop, to my laptop screen, and take you through a review and a demo of Jet Reviews. So first of all, let's take a look at the options for buying Jet Reviews. As you can see here, you have several different options. First of all, you can buy it as a standalone product for $10 per year for a single site. Or if you want to use it on unlimited websites, it's only $9 more a year, $19 in total per year. Or you can buy it as part of a set with a bunch of other Crockablock plugins. This price is actually wrong. They need to update this. The sets begin at $49 per year. And you can see here that all of these different purchase options come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So, you know, you can choose here whichever one fits best for your particular needs in terms of getting access to Jet Reviews. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to show you how to create a review if you're the one doing the review. Again, you could be reviewing a service, you could be reviewing a product, and you can put this in a post or a page. It doesn't matter wherever you want to put it. So right here, you know, you see I've just started to create a post here that says review of Crockablock plugins for Elementor. I put some placeholder text in here. Obviously I could put photos, videos, whatever I want to put in here. And then I want to drag and drop in the review widget from Crockablock. So it's this one here that has a star on it. So I'm going to just drop it there. Again, I can put it wherever I want within here. I can put it at the beginning, middle, the end. I can put it in multiple locations, wherever I want to put it. So this is what it looks like when you first drag and drop it in here. But obviously you've got a lot of features, a lot of ways to tweak this to make it look the way you want it to look. So the first thing is you have to pick your content source. You've got two options. You have manual input and you have post meta. Post meta is for when you want other people to come onto your website and rate or review a product or a service. That's what I'll show you in the next part of this video, is how to set that up. But for now we're going to do manual input. Okay. Now here you can show the review author. So if you want to show who is actually doing the review, you can do that. And I believe this here is controlled by the back end of your WordPress, so you'd have to tweak something there. I think this is just picked up by whatever you have set up within WordPress for whoever your author is for your blog posts or for your pages. You would tweak that there. Let's go ahead and turn that off. Now here you add the criteria that you want to rate whatever the product or service is against. So I don't want design. I want to put in feature set as one criteria. Oops. I'm going to add an item, and we'll call item number 2 will be ease of use. And I'll add another item, and we'll call it pricing. So those will be my 3 items. So let's come back up here to feature set. You're going to see a field value and a field max. The field value is the rating that you're going to give to this particular criteria for this product or service. The field max is the maximum that's, you know, you can give to this particular criteria. So, you know, you can set it up however you want. They do have options for either percentage, a number, or stars. I'll do stars, and stars, you know, people normally do on 1 through 5 scale. So we'll put a field max of 5, and I'll give a 5 on that one. And ease of use, you know, I'm just going to play around with this. These wouldn't be my real ratings, just to give you, let you see what it looks like. We'll put a 2 on that one, and then come down here to pricing, and we'll give it a 3 out of 5 on pricing. So that's what it looks like. But again, we're just working on this right now. There's still a lot that we can do to tweak this and make it look the way we want it to. So let's scroll down here. Now, here you've got the summary, the review summary title. It says right down there. So it doesn't, you've got these three here, these criteria that I set up, but then you also have this review down here, this summary, and it creates an average of these three criteria, 3.33. So let's go ahead and change the title on that. We'll just call this summary of GoBlock. And you can add a description in here, and you've got kind of the full thing here. You can add pictures and whatever in terms of your summary description. And then come down here, and you can put in a word here, a little phrase. You don't get a lot of space here. Just put great plugins. And there. And you can't edit as 3.33. That's obviously just being calculated an average of what's up here. That isn't, you can edit how it looks, but you can't edit the actual number because, that's not something you manually input. So that's basically how it looks. Now, let's come down here. Now you've got structured data. So you can add structured data to the review box. This will help Google pick up your review. So I'm not entirely sure this actually shows up here on the front end when somebody sees it. This may just be something for Google, but let's take a look here. We'll just call this review of CrocoBlock. And yeah, it doesn't look like it's showing up here on the front end. We'll just put this is my review of CrocoBlock. And again, it's not showing up here. So you can keep adding, you'd want like a featured image there. You can put the date, the author's name. So you've got that to put in, if you want Google to pick up on your review, which you probably do. You probably would want something like this to show up in Google that will then have the potential to drive more traffic to your website, to your posts, and your pages. Let's go ahead and turn that off for now. Now I've got the header settings. So we can put a header on here. Again, we'll just call this review of CrocoBlock. Now you can see that shows up here. Again, we can edit this. Right now it doesn't stand out very well, but we can, once we come into the style, we can change the style of that so it'll stand out more. This here, I'm not sure actually what it does. And when I looked at, CrocoBlock has a video on how to set this up, but this header settings doesn't appear on their video. So this must be a newer feature. And when I played around with this, it doesn't, I couldn't get it to do anything. And so I'm not entirely sure what that is. My guess would be if maybe you don't want to have individual criteria, if you just want to do one big overview, this might be what you use that for, these points, progress bar, etc. But we're going to do that here under field settings. So as I said, you've got stars, percentage, or points. As I said, I want to do stars. We'll turn that on. But you can look, that's percentage, and we've already seen points. Okay, so let's come back and put stars on. We can put the stars either on the right or the left. I think it makes more sense here to have it underneath the title, so we'll leave it there. We've got a label suffix. Oh yeah, I looked at this. I wasn't sure what this didn't really seem to add much value. But let's take a look. Let's just put this as the label suffix and see where it appears. Yeah, it just puts a label next to what you already got here as the title. So I'm not entirely sure why you'd want to do that. So we'll take that off. Let's actually take a look at these other ones so you can just see the options you have here. So if you want to do it as a percentage, you can either do it as a progress bar or not. So if you don't want the bar, it just shows a raw percentage there. And again, you can move these around. You can move that over there if you want the percentages to be there. If we turn the progress bar on, we can have the values to be either above or inside of the progress bar. And then finally, we've got points. And again, it's the same thing. You can either put these inside or above. Okay, so let's go back to stars. I said I'd want to play around with that one, so we'll put stars in there. Now here you can tweak these summary settings. So we have, we can put it at the right side, at the bottom, at the left side, or the top. So just take a look here real quick. The bottom, the left, and at the top. So you've got those options. That's interesting. I actually didn't, because I went to the top here, but it didn't go to the, I thought it would take it up to the top here, but actually put it on top of the text here. Then summary average layout can be points, percentage, or stars. Again, we're doing stars, so let's change that. And you can see the stars. And you know, if you go with percentage, you can do the progress bar and tweak that as well, depending on where you want to put the percentage there. So let's put this back to stars. Okay, so there we go. So this is basically what you can do in terms of setting this up. But then we're going to come over here and we're going to style it, because it's not just about deciding whether you want stars or not. You also want this to look, you want it to match your brand, or make it look the way you want it to look. Which again, because this is Elementor, or this is a plugin for Elementor, you've got a lot of different styling options for this. So first, let's take a look at the section that says review. This review gap seems to just move this this kind of space at the bottom up or down, makes it bigger or smaller. As you can see, that blue line at the bottom moving as I move that. Just leave it about where it was. Here you can add padding. This adds padding on everything but the title. So if I were to add a 50 padding on that, you can see that everything moved right, left, top, and bottom except for the title. So you can do that. You could add a border around this. Let's put a solid border of 1 all around it. And you've got some other options here for, you could change the color of the border radius, box shadow, etc. So that's what that does. Now header, that will obviously affect the header here. So you can put a background color, you can put paddings, margins, borders, etc. on the header. But mostly what I want to do is I want to make that bigger. So make that a 32 point to make that stand out more. And we'll change the color. We'll give it this purplish color. That makes it stand out a bit more. Now these here, the total average in the review form, I played around with. I couldn't get them to affect anything in here. So I'm not sure what they do. They've got a lot of options, but I have no idea. I tried various things here, changing things, and nothing seemed to change. And some of these seem to be duplicates of things that I see in other sections. So I'm really not sure what those do. Author would obviously, right now I don't have the author turned on, but if I had the author turned on, again, I can do, kind of some of the typical things you see with Elementor: background, border radius, padding, margin. I can change the size of the avatar, border type, etc. Typography, etc., etc. Now fields will affect this part right in here. So again, I can do things like, I could put a border on this. So if I want a border around that, I could just put a border that goes just around that right there. Again, I can change colors, border radius. I can give this a padding. I can change the color of the label, the typography of the label. Let's make that a little bit bigger. I don't know what font size that is. Well, let's go with 21. So you see it's bigger now. Let's give it a different color. Make it like dark black. Let's go with that. Now we can change the size of the stars. Let's make those bigger as well. Now here you can give a color for if there are no stars, and then a filled stars. So everything has stars. Let's go with a yellow color for stars. That makes a bit more sense. Oops, I got a black color. Not sure how I got a black color in there. There we go. Not the prettiest yellow, but we've got that right there. Now we can put a stars gap. Let's see here. So you want to have more of a gap between your stars, you can do that. Then you've got options here. I've got the stars in here, but if you have the progress bars, you've got options for those as well. Progress height, progress color, border type, progress bar color, padding, margin, etc. Now here we've got the summary, which should be this right down here. Let's click on that and scroll down. So again, let's say I want to make this stand out more. This would be the title. So we'll make that a bigger font. And again, I like bolder text, so we'll go with that. Click out of that. And then for the content, which is this down here, again, I can change the color, change the typography, keep the color the same. We'll make the font a little bigger. And let's see, what else do I have here? I can change the background color. Let's put in a gray background color for that. That didn't look very nice, but just showing what you can do here. And again, you've got paddings, margins, border types, border radius for all of that. Then I come down here for the summary average, which would be this down here. Again, I can change the typography of the legend. Let's make that bigger. Again, I could make that a different color. Let's see here. And again, you've got all the typical things you would expect, alignment, padding, margin, border type, border radius. Again, I can, since I'm using stars, I'd want to come here. And again, I can make these stars bigger. I can make them a different color. Again, try for some sort of a yellow. Obviously I don't want to make them the same yellow as I have there. I don't remember what that was, but we'll just kind of click in there. I don't know why I keep getting black. Let's go with that. Put a little more gap, etc. So that is basically what you can do. You've got a lot of options. This doesn't look nice. I wasn't trying to make this look nice. That wasn't my goal. I was just trying to show you all the different things you can do. You've got a lot of options for customizing this to make it look the way you want to. So again, if you've got, if you on your website you review products, you review services, this gives you a lot of different ways to display that information in a nice summary form, because people, I would probably write a lot of text and most people aren't going to read that text. They're going to come to this review. They want to get the bottom line. And so this is a nice plugin that lets you give this quick glance overview for the people who visit your website, so you can see, what does this person think about this product? What do they think about this service? Again, it is a really nice plugin. Again, I did have a couple things here. I wasn't sure exactly what they did, although, it wasn't like I found that I was able to edit everything within here. So it wasn't like I was missing anything, just not really sure what those do. But overall, I think this is a very nice plugin, if you're doing any sort of reviews on your website. And then, of course, you've got these other things here that you typically see in Elementor with margin, padding, z-index, CSS, etc. So that is, how you would set up a review if you were doing the review yourself, if you were the one reviewing the product or the service. But obviously, you may have other people come on your website and review things as well. I mean, that's very common. I see websites where people rate recipes. I see websites where people rate software, rate movies, rate restaurants, etc. So, there's a lot of rating going on the internet. And, you can use this plugin to do that as well, to allow other people to come onto your website and to rate and review things. So that's what I'm going to show you next, is how to set that up. So now I want to show you how to set up Jet Reviews if you want other people to submit reviews on your website. Again, it could be reviews of products, services, it could be your stuff, other people's stuff. However you want to use this plugin, you can tweak it and tailor it the way you want to use it. So first thing I want to do is I want to come here to where it says Jet Plugins and then go to Jet Review Settings. And I want to make sure that I have this enabled on the types of places where I want people to submit reviews. So for me, I've just got it enabled on posts and pages. I don't have it enabled on these. I'm not really sure that there'd be a case where I'd want people to submit reviews on any of those, but those are options if you want. I also believe that if you use custom WordPress post types, that you'll have individual items for those if you want people to submit reviews on your custom post types on WordPress. That would also, as I understand it, be an option for where you can have this review meta box show up. So the next thing you want to do is you want to set up the page where you want people to submit their reviews. Now you can either have them submit their reviews on the same page where they'll be displayed, or you can have them submit them on one page and have them displayed on another page. So I'm going to have them just submit on the page I've already been working on, the page review of CrocodBlock plugins for Elementor. And what I want to do is I want to click right there on Edit. So we'll wait a second here for this to load up. And what I'm going to do here is scroll down. Now I've already been playing around with this. You can see here now you have this section here called Jet Reviews. I'm going to change the title here, call this Review of Submit your review of CrocodBlock plugins. Then you set up your review fields. You can add as many as you want. You can move these around like that. You can delete them. You give it a label, again, whatever criteria you want them to rate this against. You then give a value and a maximum value. I'm not actually sure what the value does. In the documentation, they talk about setting a minimum value, but I haven't found a way to do that. I've set these to 1, but when I look at the form, it allows people to submit a value of 0, which I personally don't like. So I do hope they'll work with this in the future, because it would be nice to be able to set a minimum value, because normally people rate things 1 to 5, 1 to 10, 1 to 100. I personally wouldn't want people to be able to submit a 0. It doesn't really kind of fit with the way most people think and the way most forms work. So, but that's basically the way you're going to set up the form, is by adding these fields here with the different criteria. And again, you can add, if you want additional fields, you can keep adding more fields. Then here you've got the summary title. So this is where they will put in the title of the review. Here's where they'll put in the summary text for their review. This here, I'm not actually sure what it's supposed to do. It says summary legend. It says text above summary value. What I found is on the form, it displays in between the title and the text. And to me, it's kind of confusing, and I don't see a way to turn it off. So again, I hope they'll look at this, because it doesn't really seem to add any value, and to me, it's confusing. If I were to come across it, I wouldn't really know what to put in there. If I were reviewing, if I came across this on somebody else's website to review a product or a service, I wouldn't really know what to put in this for summary legend. Then here you've got structured data. Again, if you want to tailor structured data so that when Google picks it up, it displays the way you want it to, you can edit that here. So let's go ahead and update this. Wait a second there. Things always take longer than I want them to. Okay, so that is updated now, and I'll switch over and show you how to set this up. So here I am on the page that we've already looked at, and you can actually have your own review and reviews of other people show up on the same page. There's nothing that prevents you from doing that. So let's go ahead and we'll drop in the review box again. And this time, instead of having manual input, we're going to pick post meta. Now, because I set up the post meta on this page here, and it's the same page here, it's going to, instead of creating something like this, it's going to give me the form where people can submit the reviews. Now, I do wish there was a bit more tailoring that I could do with this. This is the way it looks. I hope, again, that's something they'll look at in the future, is allow people to tailor this to look the way they want it to look. There's not a lot of flexibility in terms of how this displays. And again, as I mentioned, people can move that down to 0, which I don't particularly care for. But again, here's the, submit your review of CrocodBlock plugins, leave a review, feature set, oops, I misspelled that, ease of use, price. Here they put in their title. Again, I don't know what legend does, and then a description, and then they submit the review. Again, I'll mention another thing that I don't care for is that there's no, how do I put it? There's no CAPTCHA on this, right? I added a CAPTCHA plugin to see if I could get that on there, but it does potentially invite spam reviews, and you can afterwards delete reviews. But there's also, it'd be nice if there was either a CAPTCHA on this or a way to manually review reviews before they're posted on your website. But I did not see that particular feature. But that is basically the way you set up the form. And then we'll go ahead and update that. And we'll come over here, wait for this to update. And you can see you've got the review right there. So we'll go ahead and fill this out Give that a 2, give this a 4, give this a 5, give it a title. This is a great plugin. Again, I don't know what legend is supposed to do. I'm going to just put I love CrocoBlock right there and submit the review. And wait for that to load. And you'll see here that it shows up right here. Again, you can delete it if you want. It does give right there a summary of the person's review. Again, this is basically now the same as up there. So what you can do is if you come back over here and edit these things here, it will affect them over here. So let's say I wanted to do stars instead. I can come here to field settings, and instead of points, I want to do stars. Go ahead and update that. And this reloads, and it should now be stars. And so yeah, it is stars. So when you, again, so to edit the display of this right here, you're going to edit this widget. I mean, it won't show up back here because it's not, it's a different display. It's a display of the form. But when you make these edits here, similar to the way I showed you for editing your own review, it will show up here on the front end for how, other people's reviews display on your website. Now, one other thing here that I'm, as I'm looking at this that I don't care for is I don't see a way, it seems like these reviews show up, if you've got it on the same page as where they're submitting the reviews, it appears that these reviews show up below the form. It would be nice, again, if there was some way to, to have that choice. For me, I would want these probably to be above this, and then, maybe this form to be at the bottom of the page, but that's not an option. This is coming up right here, and then the reviews that people have submitted show up beneath it. So that is another thing that I, again, I would encourage, if anybody from CrocoBlock is watching this review, I would encourage them to think about how they wanted to set that up and give people the option to, switch the order of these two here. The other thing I'll mention real quick is if you want these to appear on different pages, you're going to, on this page where you set up the form, you're going to need the post ID, which you can get right up here in the URL bar. You come over here, and what you'll do then, you'll create one page where this is displayed, right? And then you'll create another page where when you put this in here, on the content, it says get data from post, and you'll put that post ID there, and then it'll pull in the data from the form that was submitted on the first page. It will then get pulled in to the new page. Again, here it's not really going to work because I'm, this is still the same page, but if I had a different page number here, then it would be pulling in data from this particular post or page. WordPress always calls these posts, even though even for pages, it still gives it a post equals. So just be aware of that. Anyway, so that's how it works. So you would, put the post ID on the page where you want those reviews to be displayed. You don't need to do that on the page where you're collecting the reviews from. So that is my review of Jet Reviews. In general, I think this is a very good plugin. I think there are some things that need to be changed and tweaked to make it better, to make it improved. If I were to review this, I'd probably give it, on a 1 to 10 scale, roughly an 8 to 8.5. I do think there are things that can be improved on this to make it better, to make it a bit more user-friendly. There were a few features that I found that didn't work. Some things that I think need to be included, such again, some sort of a CAPTCHA or a manual review of reviews would be very nice to prevent spam. Even though you can delete reviews, you may not, somebody could submit something while you're sleeping, it's out there on your website for 6, 8, 10 hours, and you finally take a look at it and you're like, wow, this is not something you want on your website, even if it's only on there for a short period of time. So that's something some things that I do hope they'll take a look at. I've mentioned those throughout the review, but again, I give this about an 8 to an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a very good plugin. And I think it's, I'm not aware of every single plugin for Elementor, but I think it's probably a fairly unique plugin for Elementor if you want to have reviews on your website. So, if you enjoyed this review, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll be reviewing a lot more plugins from CrocoBlock. I'll be continuing to do more reviews and tutorials of Elementor and additional reviews of other plugins, other tools that can help you build and grow your online business. If you found value in this review and you choose to buy Jet Review or any other CrockOblock plugin, I will put my affiliate link in the video description below. I do appreciate if you buy via my affiliate link. It gives me a little bit of money. It allows me to continue to create 100% free content, which is my goal. I like to just create free content. That's the way I'm kind of wired. So that's it. I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye.